I want to thank so many people here. Cheryl, your team, the VSOs who are represented here, the military, Brigadier General LaPointe, thank you, sir. It's a real honor having you here, and all our military, Verity, my colleagues in the delegation. You know, this is one area where we really work together on because it's so important. Senator Murkowski already mentioned more veterans per capita than any state in the country. And that is an amazing element of Alaska, special patriotism that we have in our great state. You know, Cheryl mentioned I serve on the Armed Services Committee. I serve on the Veterans Affairs Committee. I'm still serving. Some of you may see I'm a little stiff right now. I ran my semi-annual Marine Corps PFT yesterday. I'm getting too damn old to be running these PFTs, but anyways. So this work is, in my view, the most vital work that we do. And because making sure those who are serving, those who have served, get the benefits that they have earned, there's nothing more important. And as Senator Murkowski already mentioned, the family members, who, to be honest, often sacrifice in many ways more than the service member that they're supporting. So if you are a veteran, or a family member, can you please raise your hand or be recognized? Because I know it's pretty much everybody here. So thank you. You know, Senator Murkowski mentioned a lot of the legislation that we're working on. I'm not going to go into all of these things, but I will tell you, one of the priorities that we have had in the Congress, and you're seeing it here, and it's happening everywhere, is we've been going over the last several years to the VA saying, look, you have populations in America where the veteran population is clearly shrinking, okay? In Alaska, it is growing. It is expanding. And what we need are more facilities like this. So the good news is that in every major community in Alaska over the last just 3 or 4 years, it's Fairbanks, it's Kenai, it's Homer, it's Anchorage, it's the Valley, it's Juneau. Every one of those communities has had either an expansion of an existing VA facility or a brand new big VA facility for our Alaska veterans. That is progress. But we always have challenges. You know, and I love our VA, I especially love our VA members here. When they get to Washington, they get a little disconnected, seriously, from their mission. That's why we had the Secretary of the VA out here recently. We hosted him, took him all over the state. But you may have heard that, we've had the recent setback where the call centers for the VA once again moved outside the state, right? So you got people in like New Orleans taking calls from Alaska veterans. You're a veteran in Hoonah. They're saying, yeah, just get on your car and drive to Anchorage for your, what? Okay, they don't know. So last week we had a hearing in the VA committee. I got the top official in charge that said, hey, we need the call centers back here, right? We need our VA doing call centers for our Alaska veterans back in the state. And this VA official said, all right, Senator, we will work with you. You get my commitment, get the call centers back in Alaska. So we're going to hold their feet to the fire on that one. But that's a very important one for the treatment of our veterans. I'm going to end with just 2 final comments. One, and Senator Murkowski mentioned it, it's a really, really important issue. And this center is going to be critical for this. This is the issue of destigmatizing the issue of mental health for our veterans. I just 2 days ago hosted the Surgeon General of the United States for our country here in Alaska to focus on the issue of mental health for our young Americans, young Alaskans. It is a real crisis. If you look at the numbers of suicides and depression for our young people, it's really shocking. We all have to work together on that. So this guy's been a real leader, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy. But in the military, it's similar. And those of you who have served in the military, you know, and this was certainly my experience, joining the Marines as an infantry officer about 30 years ago, if you talked about your mental health, you had a problem, nobody did that, right? The culture was not, you just don't do that. You suck it up, you suffer, but you never talked about, hey, I don't feel good. In my head, I feel weak. That was not the culture. Wasn't. And that has to change. And the good news is, it is finally starting to change. But we need to destigmatize this issue of people who are having mental health challenges or PTSD. We need to welcome it. We need to address it. We need to get them fixed, either in the veteran population or back in the military. And this center is going to do that. And that is a beautiful thing. And I don't think there's anything more important than that, because we've lost too many lives already in our veteran and active duty and reserve population because people did not seek help when they needed help. And we got to change that. And that's what this center is going to be about. Let me make just a final comment to our Vietnam veterans. 50th anniversary, welcome home. I think of the generations of veterans we've had, there's no group more special than the Vietnam veteran generation. And it's for this reason. It's true. And it's for this reason. You know, you think about World War II, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, Panama, I mean, so many different generations of veterans. When they came home, everybody thanked them, right? Vietnam, or all these other veterans. When the Vietnam veterans came home, let's face it, the country, in my view, was just off its rocker, right? The fact that you'd have protests and people, and I know the stories, and I'm sure, hopefully some of you may have experienced them yourself. I hope not, but probably did. When you came home from the service that your government asked you to do, and you came home and you were ridiculed and spit on, I mean, I can't think of any more period in American history more shameful than what happened to our Vietnam veterans. But here's the amazing thing about our Vietnam veteran generation. Think about what kind of bitterness and anger you would have. Hey, I just went and served my country. I saw my friends die. I got wounded in Vietnam. And I come home and what? I'm getting spit on and yelled at. And you know what the Vietnam veteran generation did? They didn't take that and be bitter. They didn't take that and be insular. They didn't take that and say, I'm not going to. What they did was amazing. They took that and said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure the next generation of veterans doesn't get that kind of bad treatment. That the next generation of veterans is going to be honored the way they should all. I'm going to use what was happened bad to me and make sure it doesn't happen to the next generation. And I saw that in my career. Let me give you one example. It stuck out in my mind. So I had a sergeant in this Marine Recon unit many years ago that I was one of the guys in charge, one of the officers in charge of. And he was killed in a snow machine accident. And we had a service for him at Fort Rich. And I was the officer in charge. I was just the captain. And I'm there, we're all in our blues, and we're burying this Marine sergeant, right? It's very somber, sad. His parents are there, his family's there. And this group of Vietnam veterans pulls up on their motorcycles, about 4 of them. You know, respectful, but they pull up on their motorcycles. They sit through the whole service. And at the end of the service, they come up to me. And I said, hey, thank you for coming to this service. And one of my sergeants, I'm like, did you know my sergeant? And they're like, no. We just read about his obituary in the paper today about this service. And we wanted to make sure this young man had an honorable burial. And we came just for that. Think about that. Vietnam veterans. That's what they did. Unbelievable. So one more time for our Vietnam veterans, how about a robust round of applause? So again, this is a great day, a great event, a great opening, a great building, and we are here to support this 110%, but right now we're just celebrating. This is a very special occasion. Thank you very much.